People at my old apartment complex went through my mail and were getting packages in my name without telling me and even opened one of them. Let me tell you guys the story. Yesterday, I get an email that a package has been delivered to my old address and they sent a photo of the lobby with all the packages in it. That email was for this package from Orabella. But also in that picture, I zoomed in and saw my name on this package. So I drive to my old apartment, I still know the gate code, and I go in the lobby and nothing's there. And I'm like, what? Like, that's crazy. This was delivered like an hour ago. Like, it's already gone. So I go to my old apartment, I knock on the door. I'm like, hey, my name's Noah. I used to live here. I think I got a couple packages delivered. Like, sorry, it's in the process of switching addresses. And a girl opens the door and she's like, oh yeah, we did get a package this morning. And she hands me this one. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. And she closes the door and I turn around. And then I'm like, wait, there was two. I double check the email. I go back. I see this package with my name on it. I double check the lobby again. I'm making sure that I'm not tripping. I'm like, okay, yeah, like, no, this was delivered in my name and it was literally delivered an hour ago. I go back to my old unit. I knock on the door and it takes her like 3 minutes to open the door. And I'm like, I know you're home. I was just here. She opens the door and I'm like, hi, like, sorry to bother you again. I think there was another package. Like, I show her the picture. I'm like, it's this big red box. Like, have you seen something that looks like this? And she's like, oh, sorry, like 1 second. Yeah, like, let me look. She closes the door. And then maybe like 2 minutes later, she comes out and she's like, oh yeah, we also got this one. I'm like, okay, one, that's not even the package I'm looking for. Two, why would you not give me that the first time? That was just sitting inside and I came for, She hands me this Walmart package and I'm like, okay, thanks. But like, you sure you didn't see a big red box? It looks like this. It was delivered barely an hour ago. And she's like, my roommate just got in the shower, but let me look. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? But like, cool. She closes the door and another like 2-3 minutes go by. And then she opens the door, hands me this box and is like, here you go. My roommate low-key opened it out of curiosity. You're telling me a package came to your apartment complex that was addressed to somebody else and you opened it within the hour it was delivered out of curiosity? What the fuck are you talking about? What? Like, she hands me this red box, which is open, and I'm like, I literally just made a noise. I think I was just like, and then I like turned around and left, because like, what? I'm not gonna sit there in your face and be like, okay, thank you, and just walk away. I literally was just like, oh, and just like turned and left. And if one of them is watching this, like, sorry girl, I'm not trying to put you on blast, but just like, common sense, like, why are you going through people's mail? I guess maybe they thought I didn't live there anymore, so I wasn't gonna come and get it, but like, you guys, it was delivered at 12:30, I got there at 1:30, like, they wasted no fucking time.
Over the last week, sharing my stepmom stories has been so unbelievably healing for me, selfishly. I want to start using it in a powerful, impactful way. Yes, it's fun to get off my chest and it's entertaining for you guys, but I don't like to dwell on things. I don't like to give my energy to things. I feel like where you give your energy multiplies. Today, we're going to talk abuse because I feel like there's so many forms and parents don't even realize how abusive they are to their children, and children don't even realize how abusive their parents are. Most of the time, it's just where you live. It's just how you were raised. It's just them. It's just normal. Hypothetically speaking, if you are married to someone for a long, long time, you have a house, you have kids, you both have jobs, your check goes into a joint account, but you're not good with anything electronic. Your spouse sets you up with your own account. Your money goes into the joint account, but they set you up with your own account. So they'll move money from the joint account to your account, kind of like an allowance. So for years and years, this person is controlling the finances. They know where all the money is. They know where all the investments are. They know everything. They pay every single bill with your income and their income, which is amazing. How nice. What a fluent way to make things work. Say one day you go to spend money and there's no money in your account. You call your partner and you say, hey, where's my money? You now know they have full control over you. Because if you were to even question certain things that they say and do and why money is being held and hey, where's this? They're going to start to know you're on to them. One day you finally start sticking up for yourself. You start saying things, you start questioning things, and now there's a really big fight that happens. You're the first person to go to bed, but you also are the first person to wake up because your workday starts extremely early. You wake up at 4 a.m., you come out, and your work briefcase is sitting there with divorce papers printed and an arrow for where you are to sign. You know that this person isn't divorcing you. You know that you just started asking too many questions. You started getting too comfortable. And this person has decided to use a tactic against you to fearmonger you, to pressure you back into knowing your place, because I control everything. If you want a divorce, go ahead and try. I have all the money. I have all the control. I have every single last access that you need. You are not going anywhere. Imagine that happening, and then not even 7 days later, you die. Again, all hypotheticals. So now you're dead, and your spouse is left to live alone, the person that you've been with for years and years and years, but thank God you have children here. This child of yours has always lived with you guys, has never lived on their own, and is still working a very low income job. Your spouse continues to let this child live with them. Obviously, it's their child, but not in a healthy way. This child decides that they really want a new car, but they can't afford moving out, getting a new car, and life. Like, that's just not gonna happen. Your spouse knows, well, duh, I need them to live with me. My spouse just died. I have nobody to now take care of me. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let my child sell a perfectly good car so they can get in debt buying a very expensive, nice car that they really want. I'll even co-sign it for them because I'm such a good parent. Except now that child physically, financially cannot leave the house. Now say another sibling comes in and says to the sibling that's still living with that parent, and that sibling says, hey, I don't think it's the best idea. I feel as if this parent is trying to financially manipulate you, knowing that if you are in so much debt with the income that you currently have, you will never be able to get out from this house. Also, hypothetically, this sibling is also with somebody who's identical to that parent. This partner of the sibling got them a job, and it's a very low paying job. They express their interest in leaving that job. Their partner says, oh, no, I got you that job at my family's business. So if you leave there, I will end my life. All this child has seen is one parent being manipulated to death. So of course, they're going to repeat the exact same behaviors because now their partner is doing the exact same thing one of their parents did. That is how cycles continue. Hypothetically, every single person going through something in their lifetime, a very, very, very high percentage is because they witnessed it within the household, because that household normalized that behavior. Taking it to your therapist and saying, hey, I've recognized some patterns and behaviors in my family that I'm starting to repeat and in which I didn't even psychologically know that I was repeating. I just thought it was normal. I've never preached to be perfect. I've actually had to have that same exact conversation in therapy.
Okay, so I recently went on a birthday trip to Puerto Rico with a man, and it went like horribly wrong. I was debating whether I was going to tell this story or not because he had previously asked me to stop making TikTok videos about him. But since it's seeming like we're not going to be talking anymore, I'm going to tell it. I knew I wanted to go to Puerto Rico for my birthday. I had originally asked my friends, but they were unable to attend. So I was like, well, I'm not going to go because I don't want to go. It's my first time kind of leaving out of the United States. Well, technically Puerto Rico is the United States, but it's my first time getting on a plane and leaving the physical continent of North America. And so I don't want to go by myself because I don't know. It's like a birthday trip by myself. Solo trip it seems like I don't want to do that. So I was going to go, but then I was talking to this dude and he was like, are you still going on your trip? Let's go together. Like we can plan it. So I'm like, okay, cool. We started planning, looking at hotels, and he's like, these hotels are too expensive. I don't want to pay for this. And mind you, now this man is not broke. He's just very stingy. So he's like, I don't want to pay for this. How about we just like stay home? I can order a chef and he can come over. We can do that for your birthday, or we can go to Atlanta. And I'm like, I'm not going to Atlanta because I've gone to Atlanta multiple times. It's not special to me because it's, you know, a 3-hour drive. And so I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. So what happened was we had decided that if he paid for the hotel, I was like, I'll pay for the excursions and the dinners. I was just saying that because I didn't want to pay for the hotel. I don't want to pay for anything. I didn't think he was going to take me up on the offer. I thought he would have said, it's your birthday trip. So like, I thought he would have said, oh, okay, nah, don't worry about it. I got it. Especially since at this point it's your idea because you're the one who brought it back up after I'd already said I wasn't going anymore. Cool. So we get on the trip. I had went ahead and booked the excursions that I wanted to do because I was like, okay, I'm going to end up having to spend money, even though that goes against everything I believe in. The hotel's already booked. The plane tickets are already booked. So like, I might as well just go ahead and book the excursions. Cause if I don't book it right now, they're getting like filled up and we're not going to end up going if I wait for him to pay for it. So I went ahead and booked it. I don't regret it because like, this is what I want to do for my birthday, whatever. So we get on the trip, we start doing the excursions, everything. We get to the dinners and stuff. And then like, I pay for one dinner. I'm like, okay, maybe that was just like a little, you know, maybe he was just trying to test me. Okay. The next dinner we get to pay for, I get there and I'm like, oh, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I have to say something. Like, you think I'm going to be paying for this shit on my birthday trip? Like, even if I said that I was going to, why would you take me up on that? Like, what? And so I'm sitting at dinner. I'm like, okay, are you about to ruin this moment? I absolutely have to. I looked at him and I said, how does it feel to be wined and dined? And I thought that was like a cool, I thought that was like an innocent way of bringing it up without being mean. Apparently that was mean. He took that like the wrong way. He was like, I guess it feels the same way when it's you. No, the fuck it don't. It feels like I'm being a passenger princess, a pretty pink princess. Is that how it feels for you? I hope not. So I'm like, yeah, I just feel like this trip has cost me more money at this point than it has costed you. And like, at this point, I'm paying for your trip to Puerto Rico. And so we get to argue at the table. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, just shut the fuck up talking about it. That's what I say. Just shut the fuck up talking about it. And he looks at me. He goes, why do you feel like you can disrespect me when we're having disagreements about stuff? And I just stopped talking to him. Like, I just turned my head. So a couple of minutes back later, I look back and I say something to him and I say a couple things and I find out that I realize that he's now ignoring me. Like, he's listening, he can hear me, but he's not saying anything. So now I'm getting pissed off because how are you going to ignore me at my birthday dinner that I'm fucking paying for? Like, on my birthday trip? Because you're pissed off because I said, shut the fuck up talking to me? Shut the fuck up talking to me. Like, I ordered the Uber. I say, pack up. I called the waiter over. I said, pack up my stick and bring me the check. Because, bitch, we not finna be sitting here like, you gonna be ignoring me. And so we were supposed to be going to the club afterwards. So I called the Uber. I pay for the dinner because, yeah. And we get back to the hotel and I get in the bed because I'm finna go to sleep. I'm not going to no club with you and you acting like a child. So he looks over and he's like, oh, so we're not going out to the club? And I'm like, ignoring him, because bitch, you was just ignoring me. Like, I don't have nothing to fucking say. And he's over there like, let's go to the club, 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 let's do this. Why do you feel like you need to disrespect me? I'm not gonna be with somebody who doesn't listen, who's always cursing at me. I like soft women, blah blah blah. Bitch, you like soft women, but you're not giving me a soft woman experience. You got me paying for my birthday dinners on my birthday trip. It's giving hoe. How do you want me to say this? It's giving bitch. I don't know how else to say that. Like, I really don't know how else to say that. And he's like, you feel like relationships always have to be transactional. When I take you out on a dinner, I don't feel like just because I'm paying for it, I could disrespect you. Well, shit, I wouldn't say nothing. I do. I do. And this is exactly why women are not supposed to pay for stuff. Because if I'm paying for it, bitch, you're going to do what I say as I say. I sent a text to my friend and I was like, this is why I don't need to have no sort of leadership in our relationships, because I'm sitting here at a dinner and I'm like, I could literally put his head through this table right now. Because like, I know you're not ignoring me on a dinner that I'm paying for. This is why I don't want no control in the relationship. I don't want no leadership because I don't know how to act. I'm emotional. All women are emotional. That's why you're supposed to pay for shit and take the lead, okay? You're comparing you paying for a date to me paying for a date. It doesn't fucking work like that, because I'm not supposed to pay for the damn dates. And it's like, I actually do believe that relationships are transactional. How am I supposed to respect you or see you or visualize you as a man and I'm paying for your fucking dinner? Like, it just does not work that way. You cannot ask a woman to respect you and also pay for stuff. Like, our brains do not work that way. If I'm paying for shit, you're not getting any respect. And don't try to turn it back around on me and be like, well, I don't treat you like that. Yeah, because it's your damn job to pay for shit. I tell him all the time, like, if you want the female experience, you need to take that up with God or become a transgender, because it is your role as a man to provide and protect. It is my role as a woman to be pretty and support you. That's all I'm supposed to fucking do. These are the roles. If you don't like that and you think that we should both be doing everything and there should be no clear roles and we should help each other out, I am not the bitch for you. I tell them all the time, I am not the bitch for you. Stop trying to blur the lines and get mad when it escalates into something different. Get mad because I don't respond the way that you wanted me to respond when you're doing something that I already said I am not comfortable with. The fuck? All I'm saying is I've never disrespected a man who was doing what he was supposed to do. All you have to do is pay for the shit. Literally, it's so easy to be a man. All you have to do is pay for the shit. Pay for everything. And I will never say anything because I will never have anything to say. What the fuck is so hard about that? I don't expect a man to respect me. I expect him to love me. I expect him to adore me. I expect him to cherish me. I expect him to provide for me. I expect him to protect for me. Whether you respect me or not is up to you, Buki. The Bible says husbands love their wives. Women respect their husbands. Now, for you to be a husband, you have to be fulfilling the requirements of being a provider and a protector. If you're not doing that, but you're still asking for respect when you're not loving, cherishing, adoring, providing, and protecting for me, you are delusional, and that is not rooted in any sort of logic or any sort of spiritual logic or anything. So I just feel like y'all tell me if I was in the wrong, because it's like, bitch, how do you expect? I cannot respect no man that got me paying for him. You sitting there talking about, can I order a second drink? Like, and you want some damn respect? bitch, please, it don't work that way. Like, softness only exists in an environment where I feel protected and provided for. I can't give you that if you don't give me this. It is transactional. Everything in life is transactional. You are delusional, and the reason you don't have a girl right now is because you think that you're able to have your cake and eat it too without providing anything else in return but your fucking presence. Who the hell? That ain't enough for nobody, babe.
Why am I not interested in going out and meeting a man? Well, let me tell you. I went out about a month ago with one of my really good friends. We were with his friend group. There was a guy that joined from this friend group. Let's call him Steve. Steve and I get talking and he buys me a drink and I said, "Thank you, Steve. This is lovely." And I stood there with him and I chatted with him for a while. Most of our conversation was him interrupting me to go, "Has anybody ever told you how beautiful your eyes are?" Very weird, super uncomfortable, but I thought, hey, maybe he's a bit nervous. Maybe I'll give him the time of day. Never give a man the time of day. At one point, we decided to go upstairs, go to the other little bar, and then come back downstairs. On our way coming back downstairs, someone was walking past me, looked a bit nervous, like they weren't with anybody, looked, I'm gonna assume queer. I know I shouldn't do that, but I think this man was gay. Because I was feeling fun and crazy, I decided to be the nice person in the room because I don't like being in a room where I can see someone is left out. I very gently walked past him, made a nice little comment just to give him someone to talk to for a second because Steve was trailing far behind me. I said something nice like, "I like your shirt," or something like that. I can see the relief in this man's face. He automatically starts his conversation with me. He's like, "I'm just looking for my friend." We get into a conversation about where he's from. He's so lovely. We start talking about the queer community. After about a minute of talking to this guy, I notice Steve is nowhere to be found. I turn around and Steve is stood far away from me, pretty far. Like, he saw me talking to someone else, and instead of coming up and joining the conversation, he stood there like an angry little rat in the corner, and he watched me talk to the new prospect. When I decided to quickly wrap up this conversation with this new, lovely, presumably gay gentleman, Steve beelines to me, comes up to me after knowing me for probably, maybe an hour, and he goes, "I didn't like that. I didn't like that." And I went, "Oh, what do you mean?" He goes, I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I'm with you. I've bought you a few drinks at this. I'm with you. You're with me and you're talking to some other guy." And I was like, first of all, he's gay. Second of all, I was trying to be nice. Third of all, you were way behind me. I was just stepping in. That's fine. Also, you don't own me. What do you mean? I cannot deal with this, like, ownership thing that so many men push onto women, especially if they feel like they've bought them a few drinks and now it's like they've locked them in for the night. How are you gonna go out in public with a bunch of strangers, meet someone and talk to them, and then the moment this stranger that you don't know talks to someone else, be like, "I don't fucking like that." I should mention as well that everybody in this friend group was saying, "Steve is the best. Steve's the best dude around. Oh, he's so cool. He's so funny. Oh, don't worry about him. He's gonna be great. You're gonna have the best time." So the whole time I was like, do I go away from him or do I keep talking to him? Because everyone's saying that he's amazing, but it was like the worst night.
Head teacher SAs his students, both male and female, for his entire career. Like, how does it feel, Neil? How does it feel to be so unhappy with yourself, so incapable of feeling anything good that you have to go out of your way and ruin people's lives, give other people trauma, young girls trauma, in order to be able to feel anything for yourself? How does it feel to be so disgusting and despicable that you have to mask who you really are as a person? Disgusting. Neil Fodden was born and raised in North Wales, and he was a husband and a father of two. After graduating college, he got a job working as an English teacher, and the education field is where he would continue to work for the remainder of his career. Neil has been described as having a, quote, arrogant, controlling personality, and by the way that he acted, you would think that it was something that he was really proud of. He definitely had the my way or the highway mentality, and he thought that he could just walk around this world and do whatever he pleased. He was extremely disrespectful, not only towards his students, but but also to his fellow teachers, and some of his colleagues have described him as a strict, commanding head teacher, known for his firm leadership style. Some have even labeled him to be a bully due to his harsh disciplinary methods and controlling demeanor that he carried around with him. And because being arrogant and condescending wasn't enough, he was also, on top of that, extremely creepy towards his female students. Neil used his role as a head teacher to target vulnerable female students in a way that went beyond any professional or personal boundaries. He wanted to spend time alone with them, he wanted to single them out, and he offered them special attention. He would arrange meetings after school to try and get them alone with the sole purpose of creating situations that always left the girls feeling uncomfortable. His actions took advantage of the authority and the trust that he was supposed to have as a teacher, and he absolutely crossed every single line of a proper teacher-student relationship. And by doing so, he caused serious harm to those involved. And we're talking about his entire career here. This was all the way from his early 20s to his 60s, but believe it or not, it only got worse and worse. It started off by him just standing a little bit too close to his female students. He would lean over a little bit too far when he was talking to them at their desks, staring at them and making comments about the way that they looked, to then physically making physical contact with them and leaning over them, rubbing their arms and then their chests and breathing into their necks. Then it progressed to him asking them to stay after class, and he wanted to make them feel vulnerable, right? So he would ask them about their home life, about their personal life, their friends, their family, what made them sad, what made them happy. And when he would learn that their life at home was rough, he would want to act like a mentor, almost like, oh, I'm just here to help you. You're too pretty to be upset. You're too attractive to be sad. And then he would start putting his hands on them, on their thighs, on their shoulders, too close to their chest, pretending that what he was doing was just comforting them. In the 90s, he becomes head teacher for an entire high school, and then he eventually becomes a super head teacher. So he was head teacher for 2 high schools. And what did he do with his power? He used it for all of the wrong reasons, to cover up the true version of himself that is an absolute monster. His behavior was always vile, but it only kept progressing. He began watching extremely disturbing material online, if you know what I mean, from his school laptop, at his school desk, at his place of work. And then it turned from doing things on school premises to then outside. One of his students that was 15 to 16 years old, mind you, Neil is now in his late 50s, but one of his female students really caught his attention, and the things that he did to this poor girl. He began singling her out. He began asking her to stay alone with him after class, asking her about her personal life, and she was actually having a really hard time at home, so school was her safe space, meaning that she trusted Neil Fodden to be a safe person for her, but he was everything but. Neil would call this student into his office, and he would pretend like he was comforting her when she started opening up about her struggles, and then he would start rubbing her arms, rubbing her thighs higher and higher each time. He would hug her in a ridiculously tight embrace and not let her go, and then he started kissing her on the cheek, and then he started kissing her on the lips. He would buy her gifts like clothing or purses or jewelry or shoes, and he would email her all the time, every single day. And he had done this before also, by the way. I have no way of really knowing how many victims he had, but I can imagine that it was a lot. And again, he purposefully and everything that he did was intentionally. He went after the girls that he found to be vulnerable. So not only are they a bit confused as to what they're supposed to be feeling because they're so young, but they're also being completely manipulated and told time and time again that Neil acted the way that he did because he cared about them, because he wanted to be someone that they could trust, and he would manipulate them into thinking that everything that he was doing was normal and in their best interest. And the girls usually didn't have many family members or many friends, so they would keep everything to themselves, and the only voice that they had whispering things into their ear was Neil. One day, he offered a different 16-year-old student a ride home after class, and in the car, he reached over, put his hand on her thigh, and moved it up until he was you-know-where, and kept it there for 15 to 20 minutes. And then this became routine, and he would keep giving her rides, and each time he would push it farther and farther until eventually they went all the way. And this girl had never done it before. This was her first experience with him. And this is disgusting, okay? Neil also had a thing for urine, so he would make this girl drink a ton of water, and then they would be engaging in these acts in his car, and he would push down on her bladder for her to relieve herself because it was something that he was into. He then started bringing this student along with him on work trips, and he would keep her basically locked away in the hotel room for him to return to after he was done with his workday, and then he would SA her over and over again. But to this student, he was so good at brainwashing people and manipulating them. He would make her believe that he was in love with her, and in return, she started to maybe think that she was in love with him too, that she wanted this. He would talk badly about his wife and say that he was so grateful to have her because he wasn't happy in his marriage, so he was so thankful that they could have a thing going on, until eventually he started telling the girl that he loved her, brainwashing her completely. And by the way, as far as the other teachers, I don't know how many reports there were, but I know that there were some reports, like complaints made, but those complaints would go up and end up on Neil's desk. And because he was the head teacher, he was buddies with every single person in every higher position. So they would just brush the complaints underneath the carpet and pretend that they never happened. They had the power to ignore them, and they did. Then there was another student, also under the age of 16, who he did the exact same thing to. He started to single her out, calling her to his office for one-on-ones. Then he would hug her and not let her go. He would hug her from behind and breathe down her neck and then start kissing it. And then it progressed and progressed until he started sliding his hand in places that he shouldn't be. And that poor girl, that girl has said that every single time that it happened, if she tried to leave, he would just hug her tighter until she calmed down. And she said that she just started having to disassociate because it was so traumatizing to her that the only way that she could deal with it was to literally pretend that she was somewhere else while it was happening. And this girl has said that Neil Fodden completely destroyed her mental health. By 2023, Neil was 65 years old, and finally the walls would come crashing down around him. In September of 2023, one of his victims was at her breaking point. She could not take it any longer. She had a very similar stories as all of the other victims did as well. And she confided in a different teacher and told her everything that Neil Fodden had been doing to her. The head teacher, she was crying hysterically when trying to explain everything. She was telling her about how it had been going on for 6 months at that point, about how Neil tried to convince her that they were in a relationship together, about how he told her that she was never allowed to tell anyone about them, about how he made her save his phone number under a fake name on her phone, and she had hundreds of texts as proved. The teacher was mortified, and she immediately went to the police station. And finally, on September 6th of 2023, Neil Fodden was arrested at school. Once this came out, more and more victims came to the police to tell their stories about Neil. The girls who sat down and gave a full detailed story about what they suffered were girl A, B, C, D, and E, and they also all testified against him in trial. And in trial, he was truly pitiful. He was coming up with the most ridiculous excuses that you have literally ever heard that made no sense. For example, when some of his disgusting messages were shown, he would blame some of the things that he said as a typo. Like, he was saying filthy things, and he would say, "Oh, I didn't mean to write that, it was a typo." And he would say that he was trying to say a different word and that the phone corrected him. Like, literally the excuses he was throwing out flat out did not make any sense to anyone. He painted himself out to be the fool that he was. The jury found Neil Fodden guilty of 19 charges. Get this, he was only sentenced to 17 years, eligible for parole in 12 years, which is a joke of his sentence because what do you mean? When he was sentenced, the judge said, quote, "You felt like no one would stand up to you. You believed the victims would never disclose. It is clear that were it not for the courage of the victims and support offered by their families and the thoroughness of the investigation by police, there is every possibility you would have continued to offend. You have no remorse, not shown an ounce of contrition, and have no insight into the very serious harm that you have caused." End quote. 17 years is crazy though. What?
Am I in the wrong for leaving our family summer vacation early after being treated like an unpaid babysitter? So every summer, my extended family does this big vacation. Think multiple families, big rental house, cookouts, beach days, etc. This year, we rented a lake house for a week. There were about 16 of us, my parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and all their kids, ages 2 to 10. I, 28 female, don't have kids. I was excited to go because I haven't had time off work in forever, and I genuinely wanted to just chill, eat good food, and maybe get tipsy on a floaty in the lake. But the moment I arrived, I could tell that this trip was not going to be the break that I needed. Within an hour, one of my cousins handed me her toddler and said, "Can you just hold her while I unpack?" Cool, no biggie. But then my aunt asked me to take all the kids to the dock, just for a little bit, so they could prep dinner. Again, fine, but it didn't stop. By day 2, I realized that I was the designated babysitter. Everyone else had vanished. The adults were drinking mimosas, blasting music, tanning, and literally piecing out for spa appointments and shopping runs. Meanwhile, I was stuck supervising 6 overstimulated kids under the age of 10 in the lake. At one point, one of my cousin's kid almost launched himself off the deck with no life vest. I had to sprint and grab him while the others screamed and threw goldfish at ducks. That night, I asked the group if we could maybe rotate childcare so that I could get some downtime. The reaction? Blank stares and awkward laughter. One of my aunts legit said, "But you're so good with them." And my cousin chimed in, "Yeah, and it's not like you're doing anything else." I reminded them that I also came on vacation. I didn't drive 7 hours to be the free camp counselor. They waved it off. By day 4, I had a full-on meltdown when I found myself cutting grapes into halves while everyone else was wine drunk in the hot tub. I packed my stuff, left a note thanking them for the opportunity to be everyone's unpaid nanny, and drove home. Now the group chat is a mess. Some of them are mad, saying I overreacted and ruined the vibe. One cousin even said it was immature to leave without saying anything in person. My mom's caught in the middle and keeps saying that I should have been more patient because they're just overwhelmed parents. I don't hate kids. I love my family, but I feel like I got tricked into attending a summer getaway that doubled as a free childcare retreat, and now I'm being painted as a dramatic one for not enjoying it. So,